Welcome to another San Diego housing market update. Today, I'm going to be answering those top questions being asked right now. Questions like, are house prices in San Diego going down? Is now a good time to sell a house in San Diego? What is the future of San Diego market? Is San Diego buyer or seller's market? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing today. Hey, my name's Morrison, and I'm going to explain how San Diego is still in a very strong seller's market, but despite that, we're in that seasonal cycle where things start to soften up a little bit. And because of this, I'm going to share why I expect between now and October of this year that the average house that comes to the market in San Diego will sit on the market longer than 17 days, that the average house will sell at or slightly less than the seller's asking price, and that the median sales price, which is currently at $1,074,500, will continue to level out or slightly drop. But one quick thing before getting started, I'm going to put a link in the description section below where you can book a call directly on my calendar so that if you're looking to make a move, whether you're 9 days or 9 months out, we can talk about your next best steps to making that happen in today's market. The link will take you directly to my website where you'll click this big green button and then just choose a day and a time that work best for you. And then tell me what you need help with, whether you need to sell your house, buy a new one, or both. Okay, now let's get into it. All right, so this is the San Diego housing market update for August 2024. All right, so the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the general trends. And how we do that is we're gonna zoom out to see what the San Diego housing market looks like from more of a macroeconomic perspective. Basically taking the big picture. And that way we can see which direction home values are trending overall. All right, so the first graph we're gonna look at is supply and demand. This is monthly inventory. All right, and it shows current economics as it relates to our housing inventory. So let me show you how to read this graph, right? On the left-hand side are months worth of inventory, and on the bottom is over time, right? How we measure months of inventory is by saying basically, if there are 100 houses for sale in San Diego County, and on average 20 houses sell every single month, it would take 5 months to deplete that inventory down to zero. And in that case, we would say that we have a 5-month supply. So look, in 2005, we had just about 4 months of supply. And you can see that it grew all the way almost up to 14 months of supply in 2008 when the housing bubble was there. And then it's been kind of coming down ever since, right? To where we are now, here just above 2 months of supply. And what we've realized is that when we have less than 6 months of supply, we are in a seller's market. And when we have more than 6 months of supply, we have a buyer's market. So currently we have 2.3 months of inventory, which is down slightly from last month where we had 2.4 months of inventory. And what that tells us is that we are strongly in this green seller's market. And we have been since about 2012, right? So what I want to do now is I want to pull up this graph here, which is the same time frame, right? Since 2004 all the way until now. And this graph here, it shows you values over time. What we're going to kind of see is how values trend as it relates to that inventory, right? So on this left-hand side is the median sales price. And we can see back in 2024, we had just over $400,000 median sales price. And then, it climbed up to about $600,000. And then during the housing bubble, the crash, in 2009, we dropped down around $350,000. And then we've been climbing ever since. And when we put this green box over, this graph, this is the seller's market, right? This is when we had less than 6 months worth of inventory. It becomes clear which direction the values go. They're always trending up when we're in that seller's market. And the opposite holds true too. Like when we put this red overlay on there, this is the buyer's market when we had more than 6 months of inventory. And what we can see at that point, values come down. So currently we have 2.3 months of inventory, which again, like I said, we're in that strong seller's market. And because of that, values should continue this upward trend that we've been on. And they'll continue that way until we have more than 6 months of inventory. So with all the news out there, all the craziness that's happening with interest rates shooting up and with our elections happening, those things could play into, inventory climbing up. But until we see that inventory number, hit 6 months or above, values will continue this upward trend. We might, it's not like a perfect line. Look, it's not like it's straight up and to the right. It's, it's jagged, it goes up and down, but overall trend will be in this upward direction as long as we have less supply than there is buyer demand. All right, so now let's look at the seasonal trends. And this is where we zoom in to see how the San Diego housing market, trends from more of a seasonal perspective. This way we can gain insights on what the next 90 days will most likely look like. And in order to do that, we're gonna look at 3 graphs, right? We're gonna look at, how long does it take a house to sell? How aggressive are buyers being? And then finally at the end, we're gonna look at what do values do in relationship to how fast they sell and how aggressive buyers are being. Well, this first graph that we're gonna look at is the days to sell. So this is our monthly median market time, right? And it shows us how long it typically takes to sell a house. So on the left-hand side of this graph are the number of days it takes for a house to get listed and then go into escrow, right? So here's like it's like 29 days to get a buyer or to get a house to, go up for sale and then have a buyer, put it into escrow. And then that was 2019. And then it's kind of going up and down. And then right here in 2024, we are around, what is this number? Around 17. What we're gonna find out here in just a second here. But before we get to that, I wanna show you how I discover these trends, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna put this green box here. This green box represents a 5-month window as January approaches June, right? Sorry, let's move this. As January approaches June. And when we do this, we can see that as January approaches June, homes gradually sell faster and faster, right? So in January, it takes the longest amount of time to sell. And then as we get closer to June, it takes less and less time. The only exception to that rule was here in 2022 when we were pulling out of the COVID. This is when we were coming out of COVID, right? So the market was, adjusting to that. But right after that, and we went right back to our normal seasonal trends of coming down during this, January to June window. And when we put these red boxes in here, these red boxes represent June as it approaches January. And all the graphs that we're gonna look at in the future here, they're all gonna have these same green and red boxes because it really helps us, visualize and see where these trends are. So as I continue to move forward with these graphs, you'll see that it's very repetitive, but I'll explain it all to you as we go on anyway, right? So as June approaches January, that's these red boxes. This is a 7-month window. The trend shows that homes typically take longer and longer to sell. And what we've learned over time is that, homes, when they sit on the market for less time, typically they sell for a lot more money, right? But again, we'll get to that here towards the end of this video, and you'll see how it all, correlates and works together. So the next visual I want to put on this graph are these yellow boxes, right? These yellow boxes represent this 90-day window as August approaches October. So right now, this number here is 17 days. So what I would expect from now until, October, over the next 90 days, the homes are going to sit on the market for at least 17 days, right? Look, in any of these windows, this is that phase of the seasonal cycle where homes start taking longer to sell. So if we're at 17 days right now, for the next 90 days, it should take at least 17 days, if not a little bit more, for homes to sit on the market. So if you're looking to buy, know that you don't have a huge amount of time, but if a home's been on the market for 2 or 3 weeks, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with it. It just means that right now, that's how long it takes to sell a home. And if you're selling, just have proper expectations that your home's not going to sell like overnight like it was, just a couple months ago. This is the time of the year that it's just going to take a little bit longer to sell. All right, so here's the next graph, right? We just got done looking at how fast homes are selling. But now what I want to show you is how aggressive buyers are being. This is the monthly median sales price as a percentage of the listing price, okay? It shows us how aggressive buyers are relationship to that list price. So on the left-hand side of this graph is the median percentage of the original sales price, meaning how much did a home sell for? If it sold for 100%, right? This bar here, 100%, that would mean it sold for its list price. If it sells for more than 100%, then buyers are willing to pay more than the seller's asking price. And if it sells below this 100%, that means the seller's got to take a discount. So when we put that, 5-month window on there from January as it approaches June, right? Over the last 5 years, we can see the trend. And the trend is that as January approaches June, buyers get more and more aggressive. And it happens year after year after year, except for this 1 year. Again, this is when we're recovering, or when we were adjusting from COVID. And then we went right back to our normal seasonal patterns. And when we put that 7-month window on there from June to the following January, we can see that buyers become less aggressive as June approaches the following January. Okay, and this is that 90-day window, right, where August approaches October. And what we can see is that we are right smack dab in the middle of the red section where buyers are going to become less and less aggressive. So I would expect, being here at where we're at right now, where homes are selling for 100% or like exactly what the seller is asking for, 100% of their list price, I would expect that moving forward between now and October, that homes are going to sell for, what what the seller is asking for, or slightly less. So don't be surprised when homes start selling for, under asking price, right? This does not mean that the market is crashing. It just means that we are in that part of the year. So if you're in the position to buy, know that you don't necessarily need to be as aggressive as you were, a couple months ago. It's not like you're going to be competing with tons and tons of offers, more than likely. So don't feel like you need to be super aggressive. You're going to start having a lot more negotiation power. But if you're on the seller side, again, have proper expectations. We just came off this huge high, right? We just came off this point where buyers were being super aggressive and prices have been skyrocketing. And now the tide is shifting a little bit. That doesn't necessarily mean that, that the housing market's going to come crashing down. It just means that when you start seeing offers come in, or when you start having less offers come in, or the offers that do come in aren't like crazy high, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your house. It just resembles this particular season of the year. Okay, now we're going to look at this third graph, right? This is the cyclical values, monthly median sales price. And this graph is going to show us, what season values typically go up, down, or sideways. It's not like a straight line, right? It's it has this ebb and flow of things, but it works hand in hand with those other two graphs that we just got done looking at, right? We got done looking at how fast homes sell and how aggressive buyers are being. And this graph here on the left-hand side is our median sales price over the last 5 years, right? So in 2019, we had just over $600,000 median sales price in San Diego. This is houses in San Diego County, okay? The median sales price of houses in San Diego County. This is not just the city of San Diego, this is the entire county, and we're not including condos or townhomes. We're only looking at houses. This way our numbers are a lot more accurate. Okay, so when we put that 5-month window on there, right, from January to June, we can start seeing the trend. Values typically go up as January approaches June, right? It's kind of like a stair step, right? It's like January to June represents the next leg up, the next stair up, right? And when we overlay the red, right, as June approaches the following January, that is when we kind of level out, right? Here we're leveling out, or we even take a slight dip, right? Sometimes values go down during this particular time of the year. So when we put this 90-day window on there, right, as August approaches October, what we're going into, again, we're right in the middle of the red. So my guess is that the median sales price, where it's at right now, $1,074,500, right? That's where we're at right now. I would expect that between now and October of this year, that prices are going to continue leveling out, if not dropping a little bit. So our median sales price should not go any higher than this. It should actually come down a little bit. All right, so let's recap a little bit, right? Let's look at the big picture. San Diego is in that strong seller's market, right? We have 2.3 months worth of inventory. And with that, home values will, continue that upward trend until inventory exceeds 6 months worth of supply, right? 6 months is that magic number. When we are above it, we're in a buyer's market. When we're below 6 months, we are in that seller's market. And from now through October 2024, homes are gonna sit on the market longer than 17 days, and homes will sell at or slightly under the listing price, and the median sales price will continue to kind of level out or even slightly dip a little bit below that $1,074,500 median sales price that we're currently at. Thank you so much for going through the San Diego housing market update with me for August 2024. If you found any of this information, helpful or beneficial, please make sure to hit that like button to support our channel so that way I can continue to make more content just like this. Again, my name is Jesse Morrison, and if you're looking to make a move, whether you're 9 days or 9 months out, use that link in the description section to book your free call directly on my calendar. That way we can talk about your next best steps to making that happen in today's market. Otherwise, if you're just looking for more information at this time, I recommend that you check out this video that YouTube thinks that you should watch next. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you can keep up with everything about San Diego real estate and our housing market.